Hi, everyone. Welcome to Here for the Health of It, Columbia's hottest podcast. We have a great show today. We have Jared Johnson, who's the co-owner of All Good Books. We get into what it was like for him being co-owner of a bookstore. We talk about his photography and what it's like being a creative in Columbia. So I hope you enjoy. Thanks for listening. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Here for the Health of It. I'm Dr. Randy here with Dr. Tom. As always, we appreciate you guys listening. Anyone who's on Instagram or Facebook, you can find clips of us there. And if you are on Spotify or iTunes, if you're willing to give us a follow or give us a review, we'd appreciate that as well. We have a great guest today. We have Jared Johnson, who's the co-owner of All Good Books. And I was asking him, if there's anything else that he wants to be called. JJ, Mr. Johnson, said just Jared is fine, right?
That is correct.
That's good. All right.
Absolutely.
And so you're a bookstore co-owner on Hardin Street.
Yes.
I have no clue how you got into bookstore owning, because I've only known you as a photographer.
Well,
Because of the Best of Columbia party, you took hundreds of photos of me.
I love how we're going right there. So, okay.
I knew that was how I was going to intro you.
I love how there's like intro, the drop in, and like, let's go.
Let's just get into
No,
it.
let's get into it. Let's get into the vanity of it all. No, I don't know how I got into bookstore owning either. Well, I do know. It's just an interesting path I've been on. I do community organizing. I do a lot of things within the city. I had a project after I did the city's first BLM mural called the Book Blackout. Long story short, that Book Blackout project, I solicited book donations from the 29205 neighborhood. And it was book donations from various Black authors, predominantly Black female authors. And it was in 2021, so I had 20 times 21, 420. So I had 420 books donated. And with those books, I took those books and repopulated the little free libraries throughout the 29205 area. So with that model, you need a book, take a book. If you have a book, donate it. So I took all the books out and replaced them with brand new hardback books, but by Black authors. And then the other co-owner, one of the other co-owners, Clint Wallace, he donated to that project and reached out, and we had some lunches, and he was like, here's what I want to do. Here's what I'm planning or thinking of doing. And your work intersects with what I want to do. And, meetings and lunches turned into ideas, and let's work together, and it turned into co-ownership and having equity within the store. And it's been a blessing in my life because, my work made a way for me. And I have no shame in saying I didn't have to make a capital investment. I didn't have to cut a check. Truly my work and what I bring to the table and what I'm passionate about made a way for me. And thank God the right person saw the work, contributed to the work, and then had enough grace and kindness to say, hey, you know what? Don't just work for me. I want you to be a partner in this. I want you to have ownership in this. So, to go back to the question, that's how I became a bookstore owner.
How did he reach out to you? Was it by DMs?
No, he donated books, and my grandmother, God rest her soul, and my mother and father. I'm very much a person it could have been another way. Like a lot of people how life. So when people do things for me or kindness is shown, you thank people. So during that project, every person that gave me an email or sent a book via Amazon and had the contact information or sent something on, I would just, respond and say thank you. And so he had his contact information, or the information was on the book donations he sent, because he used Amazon for that particular project, even though we do support small businesses. And so I was just thanking everyone. And he was like, oh, not a problem, happy to help. And then, it was like, hey, I like the work you've been doing. We should have a lunch and we should talk. And I got good vibes and was like, oh, I'm not afraid to have this conversation and meet up and have lunch. I'm just thankful he donated to the book project and, stepping out on faith. So,
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
I know, it's no jokes. It's
This is serious.
I know, I feel like I should say
We're getting
something funny. I'm
serious
like, oh,
about this
God.
bookstore.
What year did the bookstore start?
We're a year and a half old, so it started in 2023. Yeah, we're still a toddler. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What kind of challenges have you guys run into? Any challenges when you first opened it or throughout the year and a half?
I mean, not to sound cliche, but the same challenges any new business has, as far as when should we scale up? How much should we scale up? Because we're doing very well, and so we have to take the blessings and take them in perspective and say, hey, we're still a year and a half old. So while we're doing well, here's what we want to do in 5 years, what we want to do in 10 years. So to the question, we're doing well and just facing some of the same things that any new business would face, but Thankfully, we're doing well, and the community has been so supportive. Have you two been in the store yet?
No, not yet.
My goodness, you have to come to All Good Books and get you a book.
Where is it in reference to?
What's next?
We know
door?
Hardin Street, but
Well, it's in 5 Points on Hardin Street, like you just said. It's across from the big fountain, next to
yeah.
the old
Yeah.
Swift
Prime
location.
time.
Yeah.
Saludas is right there.
Yes, you can see Saludas from our front window, so we're on the other side. So
Sweet.
big white building, books are on the bottom, apartments on tops, and it has All Good Books on the front. Come in, bring your
Yeah.
families, get a coffee.
I've
get a
never
beer,
walked
get a
on the.
wine.
I've never been on that side of the street. I've always been on the fountain side.
Near the
Like I don't even
bars.
know what else is over there. Yeah.
My goodness,
Is it just bars and then books?
No, 5 Points is having like a renaissance. You know, we
Really?
have bookstores, we have cafes, we have the Boyd Innovation Center with Carolyn Crowder and Crowder. I'm pronouncing her last name wrong. Sorry, Caroline. And GrowCo. We have candle shops. It's the city's oldest shopping district. There's so much going on beyond bars. I think you two will like it.
Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Columbia Family Chiropractic, with 3 easy-to-get-to locations, one in Forest Acres, which is by Trader Joe's, one in O'Neill Court by the DMV, and one in the Northeast by Sand Hills. You'll be sure to have somewhere near you. They offer a ton of services from corrective care, on-site digital x-rays, spinal decompression for bulging or herniated discs, dry needling for injuries, pediatric care, and a Class 4 laser. They accept all your major insurances. And if you mention this ad, you'll get a discount on your first appointment. Check out their website at cfc4health.com or Google Columbia Family Chiropractic. That's cfc4health.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love a good bookstore. My wife loves books.
Your wife is incredible. I'm a major fan
Big
of
fan of her? Great.
Yes.
Me too.
I would hope so.
Now, what kind of is it? Something where we can come in and sit down and like enjoy a book? Maybe have a cup
absolutely.
of Joe.
Yeah, we have coffee, beer, and wine. My mouth, I'm like spitting. We have coffee, beer, and wine, and we have a patio area. We have a large reading room in the back. There's seating up front. You can just come in and chill out.
Sweet.
Yeah, we want people to feel at home at All Good Books. Yeah.
So you read, you buy the book, then you read it, or is it like a share? Do you have the sharing option where you rent it, bring it back?
Like that's a
Like-
library.
Well, that's what I.
Correct.
That's
is
kind of how I
correct.
was picturing your original, because your original was in library, free library work, right?
Right, that book blackout project.
Yes.
That was before the books are
Is that kind of over now, or is that still a background project?
No, it's pretty much done. Some people say like do it again, but like before the bookstore, because we follow each other online. Like I love a community-based project. It's one of the healthy ways I get some of my crazy out. So I like to respond to things, whether it's something politically or culturally, with a project that will enhance the culture or highlight the thing that needs to be highlighted. I typically focus on things that revolve around Black art, Black culture.
Yep.
And so we think about, getting the time machine. You think about 2020 coming off of doing the city's first BLM mural. We were still in that moment of like, we were having conversations about race, about equity. How do we, take a new lens or put on a new lens as we look at community, each other. And so that was just a project like, hey, we're still in this moment. It may not be, I need to do another BLM mural or organize that, because I wasn't the artist on that. I organized that. Rob Kershaw was the artist, and he was assisted by the mural, our muralist consultant, Ariel Flowers. So I'm gonna make sure I give both of them credit for that. But I just organize projects that speak to my spirit and like address a certain moment within history or a moment within culture or whatever time we're living in. So it changes, absolutely. That's kind of like, before we started recording, when you were like, oh, what's the name of like your photography? That only started because I wanted to hire a photographer for the rollout of the Soda City series within All Good Books, and none of them were available. But Clint's mom was like, well, oh, I like your eye. Use my camera. And then people saw some of those photos online, and then the people I was taking photos of, whether it was like Megan Pickney Rutherford or Ashley Elzy, who were
Or
incredibly,
Randy Kloss?
well, let me finish this and we're going to go right there. We're going to go right there.
Oh, you know
We-
I'm
we
going
need
to
to
keep
go there.
interrupting with my name.
No, I love that. Listen, I'll tease you about it, but ego is healthy. A little bit is necessary. It gets us through life. But the people I was photographing, they are people who are generous and kind, and they have platforms. And people are like, I like what you bring to the table. It's something different. And then people are like, well, can you do this? And then, You know, I was lucky enough to shoot at Best of Free Times. They were very kind to me to let me do that, and a lot of cool things. But just the work just dictates, you know, what I'm doing because it is the work, and then what is next. You know, it's if you think about like what they say in church, like the steps of order, not to get too like deep, but I don't know. I just trust my gut. I trust, you know, my approach to life, and I trust the universe, and it just leads to different projects or work. Now, going back to you,
It's so creative. It's such a creative way of living your life, isn't it?
it
You
can
just
be.
trust whatever is going to be the next project.
When you do have projects. Now, there are projects along with the books, or there's some things you want to have in place as far as like, oh, like I'm not just like out here destitute. I'm very much working class. So there's some things I'm like, okay, this needs to be handled, or this needs to be done this way, or I need to hustle in this way to make sure I'm able to do these projects or still be a creative living in Columbia. But it is a wild way to live. But you know, I love it. I'm happy. I feel good. And I feel like I'm actually contributing, and I'm not just in it from vanity, like just seeing like, you know, what people say about the work, whether they're being kind or giving compliments, or some of the project when you look at like the impact, or when you look back at things. You know, it's not everyone can say like, oh, I'll organize a project to have art put on a wall that's on North Main. You know, everyone can't say that. Or I impacted literacy rates, you know, within 29205, or these projects led to me being a co-owner in something and not having to cut a check or be a very wealthy person. So it's a wild way to live, but you know, trust God, trust the universe, and trust yourself. Yes. Do you want to give people a little background about the photos of you?
Yeah.
We
the
should
people
tell
need
people.
it.
We really, let's get to it.
So the first time that you really took a ton of photos of me was at the Best of Columbia party.
And he was forcing you to take photos.
yes.
Yeah.
Well,
I
let's
won't
be
say
clear.
forcing.
I didn't.
I think
yeah,
the
it was
cocktails were
mutual.
flowing.
It was mutual.
The cocktails were flowing. Y'all were having a good time. I was working.
Were you having any cocktails?
I
'Cause we
did
have
once
no
I was
idea.
done working. I
Okay.
love a cocktail.
Yeah.
We were supposed to have Palomas today. A little more background, but you know, I just
Here we
have water. It's like, God. Every creative loves a beverage. I mean, what is going on?
True.
But no, the cocktails weren't flowing, but I was having a great time. I think it was good energy. So we're just all in the moment having
Yeah.
a good time. So give the people a little bit more.
Well, so when we got there, you were at the Best of page where it was everybody was just getting their photos taken.
Yes.
And then you were hugging Tom's wife, Megan, and everybody was just hugging. And I was like, all right, this is great. Like, let's get some photos. So the next thing I know, you were taking tons of photos of us at that spot. And then I saw you at that spot multiple times throughout the night taking photos.
Yes.
So I thought you were the photo guy of the event.
I was.
You were. Okay.
I was covering the step and repeat of the
Okay,
event.
so that see, this is where you guys are going back and forth because that's what I thought, and then Tom made it sound like, no, he's just here having a good time.
No, that's
with
not-
his camera.
not true.
And I was like, I don't think that's true. I think
No.
he's the official guy. But then I would see you at other places other than
Right.
that one spot, which is
Right.
then why I started thinking. Maybe he's not like at the place where you're taking photos of everyone with their
He
certificate.
thinks
Maybe
that
he's just
because
around.
Best of had a photographer, which you were, that he gets access to all the photographs that are taken of him too. He thinks that it's like a whole
He's
night
not
of
the only
shooting.
I don't
one.
think that
Yeah.
I
Not
get
alone.
access,
That
but
he
I
just
want access.
That he
No,
gets
I love
shot
that.
the whole night. He thinks that you're
Dude,
there for
how many
him.
different people do you take a photo of me with? 50?
No, I can remember distinctly.
4.
It was the couples at the step and repeat, and then
Yep.
the two of y'all when we were walking into the second floor gallery and that hallway before you get to where they had the silent
Oh,
disco.
magical moment.
And there was
Yeah,
another young
with
lady. I think
Canva.
she was
That
a
was the
friend.
Canva girls.
Yeah. So we took photos in those moments.
Yep.
And in those moments, I took like multiple photographs.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, maybe it was like 4.
Yeah, maybe
No,
the,
it was way more than 4.
maybe
Like,
the
there had-
17 drinks that he had.
No,
he
no.
pretty sure
I
was-
remember it distinctly because you were like, "Oh, here we are again." Because every time we would go by, you'd be like, "All right, I'll take another photo."
I don't
And I
think
was like,
that's
"All
what I
right,
said. Was that is that a direct quote?
It wasn't like
were
it was
like-
a vibe.
I think it was us screaming at you, Jared, you're going to want this photo.
I think that is completely accurate.
That's what
and I distinctly remember turning to your wives and saying, "God bless you. You have a lot on your hands."
Yes, you did say that.
And they
I remember
laughed. I
that.
hugged them. Then I took your photos.
Yep,
and then
that's right.
we just all kept enjoying the party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to see out of focus photos of yourself?
I think it seems artsy.
It can no, it can
Yeah.
be. But do you trust me to be like, well, oh, this is out of focus, or this is not usable?
Do you know what? I didn't know much about any of your like back photography work, but I just trusted you for whatever.
You trust me if you were like in them DMs, I want these photographs.
He just hounded you.
Well, let's be real. Like, let's go.
Well,
there.
I didn't. I wasn't getting
I'm comfortable
hounded.
now. Let's get it.
Yes.
All right.
Well, no,
tell
it's
me.
not that. Well, like you see my work though.
Yeah.
And I love that. I think it's a compliment. You're blessing me because I like that energy when people are like, well, oh, I've seen enough of your work to know that even though what you're doing is distinct, it's different in its own style, I like what I see. So I trust you enough to take a good photograph of me and would hopefully you can capture that and get
Yes.
one. I love that. It's a compliment to me. And most times that is the case, but sometimes, I'm human, or if I'm using the manual focus, it can be humbling because you get the monitor and be like, this is not in focus. But no, thank you.
Yes.
I love the fact that,
Well, Ashley
You want a
Elsie,
memento.
I feel like Ashley, you're always posting great photos of her.
I need to get with her soon. I miss her. She's incredible. She's a good friend. It hasn't been that long, but she's pregnant. She's expecting.
Yeah.
Congratulations again, Ashley. So
But I feel like I should have a 1-to-1 ratio of
With
like,
Ashley?
Ashley to Randy.
Everyone that you
photo.
post of
like
her.
every time you post one of Ashley, there would be one of me.
why would you compare yourself to Ashley? Are you bringing the same thing to the table that Ashley's bringing?
I think so.
I mean,
Is there a Paloma in your class? I think he has a
how many
cocktail.
cocktails has he had today
I think
already?
he's still drunk from the party.
No,
last
it's
night.
not. It's
I'm
not the
used to it.
same. It's just different.
It's not the same. It's just different.
I'll say this, because it's real what you're saying. Though, it's my relationship with Ashley is very special, and I'm not saying that from like, oh, we've been knowing each other for like since birth. No, going back to work, going back to projects. When I did the city's first BLM mural, the petition that we had to get into say like, is this doable? It received more signatures than Will Brennan got in votes to win his council seat in District 3. And I'm not saying it to brag, I'm saying it to give context. And so on the strength of that, I was like, no, if this is a number needed to put someone in a position of power, and he's incredible. Again, there's just context. I don't want people to take this the wrong way. But that's enough to give someone a position of power within the municipality. Then it should be enough to give people what they want, the actual people who gave them that power. And we wanted the mural to be on the street. We were trying to follow what Charlotte did and then what DC did when they painted it. But then with the emergence of those projects, SCDOT was like, well, no, they were really enforcing that rule. Like, you can't paint on a sidewalk or a street or anything like that. You could chalk, but it was like, we want something permanent. And so when the project hit that hiccup, another incredible woman, I think she's been on here, Beth Iser, who's a friend, she sent an email to Ashley and to Megan Rutherford. And I'm not just name dropping, I'm giving the full context. I only met Megan 2 times before this email went out. I met her at ran into her at a Basquiat party, and she complimented the outfit I had on. I had on a skirt, the same skirt I wore to the holiday party last year. I had on a Basquiat hoodie with it, but she was just incredibly kind. Just knew through like, oh, hello, how you doing? I follow your Instagram. And then Ashley, I think I maybe seen her like once or like twice, and we had some people in common. When Beth sent that email, she was asking people, hey, do you know any private business owners or any way we can get the word about this? We're looking for private locations. And Ashley was the first to respond to that email. And she was like, absolutely help, I'll spread the word. And then Megan responded and said, no, I won't help, I won't spread the word. I'm just gonna give you a building. I own a building, on North Main. Wow. And then it just took, that project to the next level, and it helped complete the mural or get us a location. So going back to the point about photography, my relationship with Ashley is special because she's always been so kind. It's like she's, for me, a muse, because it truly comes from within. It's not even about like, oh, well, I do influence, and oh, I'm a woman about town, or I dress nice, or people like me. So it's some of that, but I've told her this, like, it truly comes from within. And when we first opened the store, she participated and was willing to participate in the Soda City series and help promote that and shot a video. She's always been very supportive of me and other people. So it's just, when you see a person with the inner light along with the aesthetic, it's a perfect combination. So why not photograph that? And it's the energy, it's the friendship. I have to get to know you better, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I can just take photos of you all the time. But it's a
Yeah,
vibe,
he's
it's
so-
an energy.
Randy's so selfish with his kindness. He wants the photos of him shirtless just to post on his Instagram. You know
His
what I
Instagram
mean?
or his OnlyFans?
And his OnlyFans. Yeah, his secret little
You got to
OnlyFans.
feed the content. What about the
That's-
Just for Fans too? Gotta get that page as well.
got it.
Do you
I
know
don't
about Just for Fans?
No, I don't know what that is. Do you know what that is?
Google it, listeners. I'm being silly. Well, I'm not being silly. It's a real thing.
Just for fans?
Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
alternative to OnlyFans, where OnlyFans like a platform. Where
Yeah.
It's like, like JFF, Just for Fans.
Oh yeah, we got to
Okay.
start that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you put podcasts on it?
You can. You'd be surprised where podcasts show up, and not just
You
like
got to be nude in these, or what is this clothing?
your favorite subjects. I feel like you can be. That's what I'm driving towards. So I feel not me personally.
You get
but I
to
feel
choose.
like on those platforms you can be very creative about like how do I present something or offer
that'd
entertainment
be
in a different
nice.
way.
Yeah.
Y'all should try that out. I don't know if I could be the photographer for that, but yeah.
Have you ever subscribed to a what is it called? Just for fans?
Well, obviously, if I brought it up, I know what it is.
You know what it is? How do you
Yes.
decide who to subscribe to?
Oh, I love this.
Do they give you samples? Like, is it?
They can. Let me say this. though.
Sample?
I
Like
love-
$1? Like for $1
Yeah,
you
like
get a
here's
sample?
or a glimpse.
Yes, some
get, like,
pages. No,
like
some pages.
60 seconds and like disappears.
Well, no, it's not that generous. Some pages that give you like a quick like 10, 15.
Yeah.
It's a vibe. Quick disclaimer before this, and leave all this in.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say leave in the bookstore stuff. Like I am a serious person, but I'm a real
Yeah.
person too, so I don't mind going there. So just people, it's not just about Just for Fans or OnlyFans. But no, you can get a little sample and just see. But you find pages based on like, other pages. Like if you saw something on Twitter, or if like a friend or whatever like recommends something, or if you have a particular niche interest, like a book or like anything in life, a niche interest in a particular sport or level of sportsman within a sport, like then it kind of like unpacks that way. Well, I heard about this, or I saw a link for this, and then you just like check it out, and then like breadcrumbs.
And then you subscribe to it
If
for
you,
monthly.
If you
if
like
you
it.
like
for a
what you
monthly
see,
fee for $4.99.
Maybe could be less.
it could be less, it could be more. It depends on the quality of the content. It depends on what they're doing, their mood. Is there a sale going on? It's very much like shopping. I have no shame around that.
Nice.
You have no context for Just for Fans,
I have zero clue what you're talking about.
but you
But
know of
it
OnlyFans
seems,
though.
yes, it seems
the same
It's like
thing.
Audible, like you know how Audible you just pay monthly and you get a book
Well, it's
every month.
No, it's just like OnlyFans is the exact same thing. It's almost like when Facebook, before Meta and Facebook bought Instagram, it's like, oh, similar things, just a different platform.
Oh, I see.
So you just get on and say, oh, I like this performer. And a lot of times, just for cross coverage, and then like I do freelance marketing too. A lot of people who have like OnlyFans pages also have Just for Fan pages, because there's some people who like, oh, I like the billing practices or the language or the policies of this company or this page over this one, or OnlyFans might be too mainstream. So it's just like Walmart or Target. There's benefits and cons to both, but there are big brands and personas that you can find in both. They're not exclusive. It's just like another option.
It's an enigma. OnlyFans is an enigma to me.
We got to get you.
Really? So
we
what-
got to
what-
get you set up on that.
I
We
don't
gotta get
understand.
Randy-
Yeah, I don't understand if I should have one. I don't think.
Let's see if we can get any subscribers for you.
Oh my goodness. I mean,
Well,
I was
no, I think-
teasing, but like, are you serious? You were like, oh, shit.
No,
I'm
no,
like, I
no,
don't
no,
know.
no. Well, because there was for a while, because all these I heard it was basically just a push for like porno type stuff, or like you pay someone to dip their foot in yogurt
I mean,
and then like put baby powder. on
Yeah.
it.
How much
Like,
did you pay
that-
for that one?
oh my God. I mean, no shame around that though. No shame around
got a
that.
whole
People
list.
like
no,
what they
that
like.
well,
though.
that's how I always imagined it. But then I
can
started
be that,
hearing some
but it can
people.
be the-
well, one of our former guests was like, "Hey, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna have a podcast on OnlyFans because the language is not PG, like not
That
Spotify
makes sense.
language."
If they're talking about like their sex lives or having a very open conversation about like, doing sex work or something related. I mean, you don't have to be scared of it. It's like anything in life. It's America. It's a Judeo-Christian, situation or the foundation. So like, no, there will be like stigmas around sex or adult entertainment. But no, just you don't have to be in everything. It's like fashion. It's there. If you need something, try it on. If you like how something fit, you wear it, you move forward. There's no need to feel weird about it or to be scared about it. You want to know about this so you're more aware. You can make better choices. You can educate your kids about like, hey, like here's some acceptable things or not acceptable. Here's some things to be aware of. You want to be educated in a whole lot of ways, academically, culturally, spiritually, also sexually too. So yeah. Don't be afraid to learn more. Not saying that you take it on, but like, oh, I'm aware of this, I have knowledge about this, and you discover what you may like. So yeah.
That feels good. It feels
Yeah.
like a well. Do you
That
read
feel
a
great.
lot?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that was like a good scholarly. Like I'm, you're exposed to a lot. Like I feel like you're
Yes.
getting
I
That's
am.
how that's where I feel
the
like,
bookstores inside you.
Yeah.
It is.
I agree with that.
Well, that's just my life, period, though. I've been exposed to a lot. In fact, my mother would do that.
Bookstores inside you is a quote that I don't. I wasn't ready for that.
Oh, my goodness. Is
good.
that like another Just for Fans?
That's a good-
No. That was just
The
like I
bookstore
was trying to
inside
figure out
me.
what he meant by
No,
that.
no,
2025.
I'm saying like you're kid because here's what I envision. You got all these books on the shelf, a lot of variety of topics,
reading it all.
culture, and
Absolutely.
everything. And it's
Absolutely.
absorbing in you.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it.
And are you like a big reader? Like, do you dabble in a lot of reading?
I used to. I may call in a bookstore, but like life can be so busy and is busy because I do a lot of things outside of the bookstore and within
Yeah.
the bookstore where I do read. And right now I'm reading like 3 different books, but I don't read as much as I used to, as much as I want to. Because
Right.
I do a lot, whether it's photography, doing freelance marketing. Like I just recently did the marketing for Philosophy at 5 Points with Cola Love for the 2nd year in a row. My own community projects and just life. Life can get very busy. Sometimes I just want to like listen to a podcast. In fact, the All Good Books podcast just launched a few weeks ago. So I don't read as much as I would like, but I do.
Yeah. See, this is, I think you're opening up something that I've been hot on for a while, which is I think people just need more exposure to stuff. You know what I mean? You hear a topic and you jump to judgment because you don't know or
Right.
like you're just ignorant of it. So you have built-in responses that you don't even know where they're coming from because you don't even know enough about it.
No, absolutely.
But where do you get that? That's like, so that's where I struggle is I think that people want to know more about a lot of topics, but there's not a place outside of like books and I guess YouTube.
YouTube, I love YouTube. YouTube can be incredibly helpful.
But then you can get into a lot of, like I love getting into weird stuff or topics that are conspiracies or whatever it is. I'm just open to all of
Are
it.
you a flat earther?
I might be. See, like I don't know. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I definitely have books about that. You need to read.
About the
It
flat
can
earth?
change. No, it's definitely round. But no, you're right. I think people need more resources. But the same way, like we're having a good time, like talking in a podcast format. But
Yes.
you need to talk to people, and some of it you're just born with it now.
Yeah.
I'm very much a creative. I'm very much an artist, and so it's within me. Whether it's not specific to acting, but a lot of art and the act of creating art is based in empathy. So you are exposed to a lot. So you can interpret things in a different way, whether it's a
Right.
song, whether it's a scene, whether it's a character, whether it's here's a visual I want to put on this easel because I'm feeling this. Here's how I want to capture this image
Yeah.
through the realm of photography. Art is an empathy vehicle. So some of it is innate within artists. They're going to be exposed to a lot because they feel a lot and they're hungry for that.
Right.
And I think you too have an art or artist spirit within you. So yeah, like whether it's a book or YouTube, like just talk to people, like whether in your circle, outside your circle, just keep it like
Yeah.
well, diverse is a word I will use. Keep it diverse, but like in the true sense of when I'm saying diversity, like
Yeah.
keep it really diverse and like just have those conversations, and just be open. It's
Yeah.
incredible what you can learn. It's incredible too, like the skills and the different ways you can incorporate what you're learning or what you're being exposed to help like build you up and make you better, make you more maneuverable.
Yeah.
It's been an
think-
asset of my life.
Yeah. I think it's one of the biggest things probably over the last decade maybe that I've worked on like intentionally is perspective. Just essentially like I have my point of view, but it is just that I try to put myself in somebody else's shoes to see their point of view on topics that I may have like completely the opposite opinion on. But I want to know, like, I'm interested in it. Like, I'm interested to find the common ground of like we're people and we're living on the same planet that might be flat. And
It's not.
but like that's the thing. I'd love to sit in a debate where I'm just a observer of like a guy who's a flat earther and a round earth guy, and just kind of see where the middle, like there's middle ground.
No, debates can be fun.
But
it's-
some people they overdo it.
They can.
Right?
Some people are passionate. I do love the fact that you, for your identity and like what I'm assuming you know, ascribe to yourself for like categorize. You know, as a white male, I do think that's a great
Yeah.
outlook to have. Because when you think about like, oh, like a white male patriarchy, or like, okay, if you want to think about how systems work or how the systems within America work, like, oh, like white men
Yeah.
are at the top. I'm not saying like, oh, they're at the top or whatever, but just based on like history, I think we all can just agree on that. Like, there's a preference for this thing. One being men, and then two, if to bring race into it, a white male. So I think it's incredibly helpful for someone of your identity to say, hey, like I want to hear more. I want to have a different perspective, and this is just my POV. Let me hear yours. I'll say this though for a caveat. I think if you belong to a different group, I think it is incredible to have conversations and to be open to dialogue. But there's some things I know personally I can hear it. We can talk about this, but I know my mind won't be changed on certain things. There's some
Right.
things that I'm based on my background and my identity.
Sure.
I have to hold true to, but I think that's an incredible thing.
Well, you know what's
Bitter
it's super,
talk.
like this is where my brain went because like here's what even when I think of skin color in general, I go back to whatever people believe in, Big Bang or God creating people, right? And skin color's it had to be based on location because of sun tolerance. Is that like fair? Meaning like if I'm further from the sun, I'd have lighter skin.
Right.
If I'm closer to the sun, God would have set me up with skin that would be able to tolerate the sun better, right? So closer to the equator. At what point did skin ever become an issue? Like why did in history? Like I literally go back to like, okay, so there's geographical things that make sense to me on just even skin color. But then like when did it become a problem? And then, as you're saying, like, when did this hierarchy start to develop? And like, that's the conversation I'm super interested in. Of like, especially as a white male, and like looking backwards and going, "Wow, there's a lot of things that you can read in a book that we did very poorly." But like, let's go. I want to go like back, like, and to like the origins of people, and
Absolutely.
what was that? Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I'm not a historian. That's not on my long list of titles of things I do. So I don't want to like claim like, oh, I have an exact date. Slavery has been around though, even before America was even a thing or thought about. Slavery is not new to the world. It still exists in a lot of forms today, sadly. So the idea of having someone beneath you or one to have power over another person, that is not new, whether you're thinking about God biblically or a Big Bang. Once Homo sapiens and humans came into existence, and as we began to organize collectively and like, you know, build cities, you know, build worlds and empires, however you want to describe it, you know, it's something within us. We kind of touched on it earlier when I like, she's like, oh, it's healthy to have a little bit of ego, which is true, but there's just some things as humans that are just within us. All of us, like who doesn't like power? Who doesn't like control?
Right.
We all do. And I encourage everyone to exercise their own power and their own control in an equitable way, in a fair way, in a just way. But we all have that within us. Now, there are some, though, who take it to an extent, and that power will mean I want power of this person, and not just like an employment way or, you know, I can outvote you. Like, you mean very much like, oh, I want to have power over your physical being.
Right.
Especially if it can help build my economic wealth or help make my life easier, or especially if you don't have, you know, the resources or the things around you to protect you from being, you know, a tool, a living tool. And humans, we do love tools, whether it's a phone, a computer, you know, even with AI, like we love tools. So, they were just using what the best tech they had, a living tool. And we don't have a machine to make this, but we have a human to make this. So
Right.
it's been around for a while though. So I mean, it started with just humans being flawed people. That's where it started, and then some just taking it to an extreme.
And that's what it's exactly it. It's like at some point there was a power dynamic where there's clashing that had to have occurred, whether it's over territory, resources, whatever, and then it had to evolve from that.
Yeah,
right?
well, war, definitely there were slaves. I'm thinking about Greek history or Roman history. Once, they defeated another territory, another country, another realm, oftentimes some people who were within
Right.
war, former soldiers on the other side, they would become slaves. And also, too, sometimes it wasn't even about war. Sometimes, moving further up the timeline, it's very much about we need this. We can get it from this living
Right.
tool, this thing, this person, this human. So it can come in many forms.
Yeah.
I love how we getting a little deep. I'm like, oh,
Oh, we
goodness,
just
it's
got
nice.
deep.
That is deep.
We go all over the place. I mean,
No, I love that. We're learning. We're having, it's incredible.
But that's what, and that is honestly what I like about the podcast, because we do get to sit with people and talk about different topics and things that just you never would get to talk about and have questions about.
No, it's great.
All right, so tell me about just a general day in the life of Jared.
Oh God,
You wake up, you clean your camera.
I don't do that. It depends. I'm like, oh, let me wipe the lens off. I using a cotton t-shirt. I'm
This
the
gets so
worst.
dirty.
I know, it's like, it's surprise.
There's milk all. I picture cameras just all over your house.
No, I have one. I just have one. I have multiple lenses.
Okay.
There is a new Sony camera that I've been playing with. It's something my friends James Adjins and Andrew. They have a Sony. They let me play around with theirs sometimes. It's an incredible camera.
Is Sony coming back? Because I thought Sony was a big name, and then
They never
Canon.
left. They
Well,
never
Canon
left.
kind of took over, right? And
Well,
now Sony's
Nikon.
back.
I use a
Nikon.
Nikon,
Yeah.
but I use Nikon because it was a camera that Clint Moms gave me, and then for me, I'm very much I can't be woo woo about it. It feels very much like Harry Potter and a wand, or a
Yeah.
magician and their wand. Oh no, this is working, and you build that relationship with it. But it depends on the person. You have some people who are Canon diehards, there's some people who are Nikon diehards, there's people who swear by Sony. The city of Columbia, their whole team uses nothing but Sonys. Which great cameras, but it just all depends on the person, what they're looking for. The same way some people well, I don't want digital, I want film. It all depends on the person, how they're feeling, their mood.
Yeah.
So but Sony never left. Sony's an incredible brand. Whether it's TVs, cameras, Sony's great.
So you wake up and you don't clean your camera. You probably brush your teeth.
The first thing I do, honestly, which isn't healthy, I look at my phone. I look at
Go
my phone.
right into it.
What,
Yeah.
social media? Or just check your text?
Well, I'll look at what time is it?
Bookstore sales.
Well, no, not even that.
Oh.
Check the time. Check the weather.
Check
maybe.
the time. Oh God, I don't want to sound crazy or laissez-faire.
But the people need to know.
Well, one of the benefits of being a co-owner of a bookstore and then given the freedom to do a lot of creative work, again, there's a trade-off. I very much have to hustle because, again, I'm not independently wealthy. I have to work very hard. It can be tough sometimes. But one of the positives of my situation is I don't have to set an alarm. So I wake up when I wake up. I'll set an alarm, I have to go on WS or do this or promote this or, there's a set time. So, I do set my alarm sometimes, but most days I don't set my alarm. I used to work for FedEx, so I'm gonna naturally wake up, 7:30 or 8 these days, not 5:30 anymore like I used to. But I wake up, look at my phone, text messages from my mom, any missed calls, and I think about okay, what I have to get done for the day. I'll make a pot of tea and drink that. Cut on NPR, listen to that, and then maybe write something down. Here's what I want to get done today. And then once I kind of get out of the house mode and get dressed and freshen up and moisturize, walk to the bookstore because it's in my neighborhood. It's a 7-minute walk. Nice. Check on Julie, who's our great director, see how things are going in the store. And she and I talk about whatever we're working on together or whatever I'm contributing that week as far as let's get this on social media or we have this event. Just touching base with the team.
Yeah.
And then from there, I go to the library. I leave the bookstore and then go to the library.
More books.
Yes, but I use the library's photo editing software. At the library, they have the full suite of Adobe
sweet.
programs, which can be very expensive. And so it's like, oh, my taxes pay for this. So that's a
Nice.
typical day. Wake up, kind of like, okay, I'm here. Check the phone, tea, go to the bookstore, have a coffee with Julie, strategize, talk with Clint, talk with the Ben, and then edit whatever photos I'm working on that week, whether it's like paid for work
Yeah.
or an event I went to that I want to share because I love highlighting Columbia. So some of that, going back to what we talked about earlier, I do, if I'm at an event or was invited, I'm like, yeah, I have my camera, can I take a photo? And if they allow me to, I will capture that. So work on photos and then maybe edit an episode of the podcast, go by Food Lion, get some groceries,
You're living everybody's dream.
Yeah.
Your life is everybody's dream.
Well, be careful what you look at. The context is a trade-off. No,
Right. You wake up whenever you want. Then you do whatever you want.
but think about what that. But think about what that comes with, though.
And you didn't just do this.
Not one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This took time.
Yes.
Well, I won't even give that illusion, or like I don't want it to come off that way. The law of equivalency. If the universe is going to give you something, it's going to take something. I'll say this: when I was with FedEx, like I had to be up by 5:30 to be at the airport and like do
Right.
first overnight. So these had to be delivered by 6:30 a.m. or 7 a.m. like before the priority. Like working very hard, getting up early, but I was getting paid every week. I was getting paid a great check. Everything's getting paid. So that sounds great, but there's a trade-off. Like I'm mostly a creative, so things aren't as secure as they could be. I have no shame in saying that. So people need to have that reality or that realness to it. So I don't set an alarm, but there are moments like, oh, I need to book something. I need to, thank God I got this influencing thing or this event this week or this thing happened this month because, okay, this will cover Dominion. So there's a trade-off to the whole, like, I don't set an alarm or like, oh, I get to be a creative. There's sacrifice that come with that too. Like, I used to travel a lot and still like to travel. But there are things like, oh, okay, like these things need to be handled before
Right.
these things because, outside of the bookstore, like I'm mainly, and even within the bookstore, I'm mainly a creative now. So it's just, I wouldn't trade it. I don't mind hustling. I don't mind those like tough moments because it makes you resilient. It makes you stronger. You learn a lot about yourself and your community, your support system. So I'm not just doing it alone, but there's a trade-off now. But it is nice though. It can be rough. It can be precarious. I'll even throw that out there. But overall, I wouldn't change it because I don't know. I just feel better about what I do. I used to work years ago for Blue Cross Blue Shield and like would dread going to work. I literally would like calling out or I'll have moments where I'm like, God, how many days I have left? And just be like, I remember when we had the 7-year flood, I was living behind the Citgo in these like hood apartments. Great layouts. They had the Carrie Bradshaw layout where the closet was in between the bathroom and the bedroom. So when people come over, they don't have to go through your bedroom. It's like, no, just go to the
I know
bathroom.
Carrie Bradshaw's from Sex and the City,
Yes. Love that you know that.
but I have
Well
no
done.
clue what you're talking about.
Her layout in her apartment. Her
apart-
closets is
in
in
New York
between,
City.
Yes, the closet's in between the bedroom and the bathroom. So when guests come in, if they need to use the bathroom, they don't have to go through your bedroom.
Oh, I
That
see.
was something I was looking for. I was like, I don't want people to have to go through my bedroom. Just use the bathroom. And so, just giving more context, but they were hood apartments, even though they had a great layout. But I remember like they're like just like not wanting to go to work. How many vacation
Right.
days? I was getting paid, but it's like okay, it was not happy.
Yeah. You,
So yeah, there's a trade off.
Yeah, I think it's
It's real. It's not like sexy, but it's like, oh, like, yeah, I'm a creative and I don't set an alarm, but like it comes with a lot. And I have the mentality or the way I process stress or different things. Because for the most part, I'm a light person. So I do deal with things and have moments and like things get to me like anyone else, but like the way I'm able to process it for the most part is in a healthy way. So I can handle certain things and I have an incredible family, incredible support system. And whether it's the bookstore, family, or friends, the universe and God has surrounded me with some good people. So like, I'll say this, like there was a moment one time I'm like, oh, like my lights were off because I was waiting on payment from a creative thing that I
Your
did.
likes
My,
were
li-
off?
my lights were off. They were off for 3 days. And
Lights,
this wasn't
Randall.
lights.
Oh, I thought you meant likes like on Instagram.
No, I'm not.
Your
being
lights
superficial.
were off.
My lights,
Okay.
like Dominion, they were
Yeah.
off. Because I was just waiting on payment about something, and it ended up resolving itself. But like that's just a real of it.
Yeah.
And no, every creative doesn't have this because again, like they may have a different way they process or do things. But just trying to keep it real, like give you a full perspective.
It's not, yeah. It's good. And
So, yeah.
well, one thing that I appreciate about you is I find a lot of creatives think the world is against them, but I don't get that vibe from you.
No.
Like they'll be like, well, nobody appreciates my music, nobody appreciates my writing, nobody appreciates how good I am, nobody appreciates how hard I work. Like there's that kind of vibe sometimes in the creatives world. And then I look at them, I'm like, listen, you're 23 years old. Like you haven't even spent enough time to be good at it, let alone this idea that you're putting in, 10 hours a week into songwriting. And after 2 years, the world doesn't think you're the best thing in the whole world. Of course not. You haven't put in the time. They don't understand 60 hours a week, 15 years. Now you can start to be like, all right, I'm starting to get good at it.
Right.
But it's just a big, and I think we talked with Preach about that too a little bit, about Preach Jacobs, about like there's this thing where you have to put in a lot of hours and a lot of years before you start to understand what being good at something means.
Wow. You touched on something I went through last week. Oh, this is funny. I was texting with Clint earlier because I was feeling bad about something.
Clint, who's Clint to clarify?
Clint Wallace is another co-owner of All Good Books, the one who donated to
He's
the
the
book
one,
Blackout
okay.
and was like, let's talk, let's have a meeting. But there was something, I won't get into too much detail, that I wanted that was creative based. And it pretty much was all the things I'm doing now, but it was more formal. And it would come with the check. And it would fit my schedule. It was perfect. And again, I'm not gonna get too deep on this. But what's for me won't miss me. But I was like, oh, like I think this is perfect. I think I'm gonna get it, and I didn't get it, and I was in my feelings about it. So, to the point you're making, for the most part, no, I don't think the world's against me. Like I've been incredibly lucky with my projects or the work I do, or people, whether I don't know if they're saying in their heads or behind my back. I don't have access to that, thank God. But what they present to me, people have been incredibly kind. And so I don't think that because, like, when I look at my resume or my artist resume, it's like, oh, I've been incredibly successful at what I wanted to give to the community or put out there, and the reception to it. Sometimes it still shocks me, and it scares me sometimes. So I'll never think the world's against me because the world has had my back so many times. But there are moments where you're like, well, oh, like you will be sit down and think about, okay, like your art, the way you create or what you're putting out there. Like I had that same moment last week when I was like, oh, I should have got this, or I felt like I should have got this and I didn't get it. And I put in like the work on, community projects, bookstore stuff. I mean, we can go on and on. It's like, oh, like, why didn't I get this? Sometimes it will never be enough. It just is not destined or ordained, however you want to go for it. So hopefully they can like get a better perspective. But there are moments like that just as a creative. Now, for me personally, I do like, dang it. Even go to photos. Like there's some moments even with paid work. Recently I had someone for the first time, and I loved it because it humbled me. It made me get on my ego a little bit. They liked the photo, but they wanted me like to make a few changes in it. Aesthetic changes as far as like, what I thought like, oh, like maybe take the brightness down on the skin on this or whatever. And it was an incredible learning moment because at first I was like, oh, this looks good. Some friends of mine saw it and said it looked good. Like, why doesn't he like this? And then I had to sit back, and it wasn't he didn't like it. It's just like, oh, like he wants to look a certain way, or to be more specific, he didn't want it as edited as I edited because I wanted to make sure like, oh, I'll trying to give Vogue, make sure everything's perfect, and he wanted something that was like, no, like show some of the, the imperfections of my skin, and it was just so humbling. And so sometimes I get in my feels too, but it's like, oh, like you take that moment, you learn something, and you grow from it, and say, well, oh, okay. I mainly shoot a lot of women. I love women. Women are beautiful to me, and it's like, oh, and the men I've shot have all of them are like the photos. It was like, oh, this guy wasn't a model. He wasn't a creative. He was someone who had like very much a cool job, like, but he was very much like well, I can say this. I don't think people figured it out, but he's an engineer. And so like the way he would look at a photo of himself would be different than someone who's like, I do social media or
Right.
I'm in a creative space. So it was just incredibly humbling. 'Cause I was like, why should I have to do this again? Or like, why do I have to redo these 2 photos? And it's like, no, take a minute. He's a client on top of like, he's a different kind of guy, a different kind of person. So like learn something, get out of your feelings and then keep it moving.
Right.
Yeah. But artists, I mean, we in creative, we can be sensitive people. I mean, I know I can be.
Do you like giving direction, like as a photographer? Like, do you like saying, stand this way, pose this way, tip your chin up, any of that, smile?
It depends on the person. It's for me. It starts with the vibe, the energy, and the concept. To go back to Ashley, for example, she's someone who's very much aware of what she can bring
Yeah.
when she's in front of a camera and how she moves and her strengths. So with someone like that, I don't have to say anything.
You just let her loose.
Right. Whether it's a candid or like we shot something at the bookstore. It was a promotion for our Easter sale and Easter products with Gourmet Shop.
Yeah.
We made a beautiful little, not tablescape, like a quiltscape. Where
Yeah.
we had like the Easter basket, my grandmother's quilt, and different knickknacks and like a bottle of wine and like different books or whatever. Once we had the setup, Ashley got the vibe. She knew what we're shooting for. With some people, it's natural. There's some
Yeah.
people like, you do want to say, give me this. So it just depends. As long as they're able to take direction, if I have to give it or feel I have to give it. Because
Yeah.
it's a collaboration, like, and most times, even with whether people just smiling with their teeth in front of the camera, I always tell people do whatever feels natural. Because I just want people to feel like comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, just do what you normally would do. That's why I love candids, because like I love capturing people in a
the
beautiful
moment,
way.
yeah. Yeah.
And not to brag, but I do a good job of that. I'll pat my own self in the back
Yeah.
about that. Like it's not like, oh, it's a candid. They got like, oh, they're eating. Like,
Right, right.
Some of my best photos are just candids. Just people just living. And that's one of the main focuses of my photography too, because there's so much artifice. Now, yes,
Yeah.
if you got a zit, I'm gonna get rid of that because we want clear skin, or we want to present the best version of you. If you want that, or let's whiten the teeth just a little bit.
Right,
I even
right.
do it sometimes with my photos, so I do little things like that. But I like to keep it as natural as possible as far as
Yeah.
like the vibe, what they're doing. I just want to feel like less of a photograph and more of a film screen grab, or like, what's the word I'm looking for? Help me out.
Like if it was a video you took, you
It's
would
like a
just
moment in
snag 'em.
time.
But there's a word. What's that word? And I should know this. I read books.
I don't read enough
And it's
books to
a
know it.
synonym to screen grab. Not snapshot, and it's not screen grab. We're getting there. God, well, I feel like help me out.
Carol. We need Carol to help us.
Carol?
You might need to look that
Carol's
one up.
off camera, but Carol, what do you like?
Like screenshot, screen grab.
But if you think of there's a word, you think about like a film, like if Scorsese did something, for example,
Yeah.
there's like, and it's not snapshot, and it's a word associated
Clip.
with film.
No.
We're getting closer. It's not clip though, but I want to feel like that though.
Yeah.
A still.
A still.
That's
okay,
a still from like a film or a video or a film. Like I want to feel like that. Like it feels there's a realness to it.
Yeah.
Where it's not artifice.
Those
where
are my
it's-
favorite pictures too.
I think
I hate the
they're
posed.
real.
Yeah, posed ones. You just
They're
you have
fine. They can be
4,000
beautiful.
of them in your life. You know what I mean? It's like, oh hey,
Right.
camera, everybody look.
Right.
I love the ones where it's like, oh, you're slugging a cocktail or laying on your back with hay.
No, I'm with you. Like real moments. Real
Yeah.
moments. It's
Yeah.
not always like
It brings you back.
you're serving or like I'm doing this and like
Right.
it's interesting because some people who are like popular on social media, like when you try to get it candid, they're so aware of cameras because
Right.
their work or just what they do. Well, you can see them and feel them adjusting. And it's
Yeah.
like I'll snap it and it's going to be beautiful because you trained and you're good at this.
Right.
But it's just and for me, in my humble opinion, I'm like, no, I love a real moment. Like everything doesn't have to feel so. Oh my God, it has to look this
Yeah.
way and be like this. There's beauty in imperfection, or there's beauty in like realness.
I like the
I'm gonna embrace
opposite.
it.
I like staged but unique.
God.
Okay,
Staged and unique.
okay.
So like a standard staged photo doesn't sound exciting to me. But if you can make it unique and staged, that's exciting to me.
Well, give me like. Did I mess this headphone thing up? I don't think I did. Okay, good. Give me like an example of a
Like
stage photo in your mind. Like, what setup would you want?
Well, we did a family shoot with Stephanie Williams. Do you know her? Stephanie Williams, photographer. She does a lot of like business portrait type stuff. So it's all staged, but she can also.
That's incredible.
So she makes sure that the lighting is good and that you look good, but then she can let you kind of do whatever unique stuff you want. So when we were doing our family photos, she kept being like, I have never shot a photo like this before, but I'm open to it.
Well, what
Like,
were you
"All right."
doing? Well, what were y'all doing in the photo?
I don't. It was just like different positions. Like I came
He's
in
flex-
with
mainly
I
him
came,
flexing,
no.
if you're
I would come
wondering.
in with photos that I like, and she'd be like, "Oh, this is unique," or I would see a unique photo and be like, "Oh, this looks cool. I want to do it this way."
I love that. So you have like references. I do love that.
Yeah, I always feel like I want a good reference. And I would say like this, but different in this way.
Cool. Do you like have a favorite photographer other than her? Or like, do you get into photography? Do you look at magazines?
You know what? I've been really into watching lighting stuff lately. Like I'll go down a really long Reels tube about lighting, and I do like that. But I like it when they're very clear about their numbers. Like so, it should be 45 degrees this way, 45 degrees this way, and then you should change the lighting 2 degrees at a time until you find exactly where you like.
You probably could teach me about something about lighting, because I love natural lighting and just like, oh, what are the situations? Like, figure it out. But I'm not formally trained. I'm just very again blessed and lucky that people respond or even want to hire me based on like, oh, I like just what you do.
Well,
but
you're
there's so much-
you're a free spirit photographer, whereas I'm an in the box photographer.
But I love that though. I'm like, we can have a conversation.
know,
like,
it's a
and like you
good
can teach
yin
me
and
about
yang.
like more about lighting. We can have like, oh, what are you learning? Yeah. So I love this. Do you have a camera?
Not that I use.
Why aren't you using this camera?
I don't because Carol uses it mostly.
I love that.
But the issue was always that every time I would take photos and I would really like it, but then I would just run out of space constantly, and it just got so irritating running out of space that I was like, I have to stop doing this.
You know what I do? Okay, I probably should not say this, but I'll say it. I use the same SD card, and just delete things as I go, and just like, oh, I need this. I want this amount of frames for this, or I want to just keep it moving.
So you don't have like hundreds of thousands of gigs of stuff. You just keep
No.
it simple.
Well, I try to. Like everyone's process is different. For me, I'm like, once I import it, it's going to be in my cloud for the most part. So for them, not everything. For the most part, I can get access to what's been edited, or if like, oh,
Yeah.
can you send me that again, or what? Not an issue. For the most part. But like the raw images, or like things, just like, oh, I'm done with that. Or if there's a situation where like, someone's like, well, oh, like, are there any more photos from that? Because I just saw the one or the two. I'm not calling you out. It's just like,
No, that's literally what I was saying.
but it's like, oh, like, no, those are gone. Well,
Yeah.
yours, like, some of those weren't in focus, which was on me. Nothing to do with you, the model.
No,
and
I was probably standing in the wrong place.
No, not at all. It's
If it was Ashley, it would have been perfect. But me,
No,
you put me
no,
out
no.
there.
No. You were fine. It was just me.
No, I'm just
it was just, my mistake. So you did something like that, or was like, oh, like, once I keep shooting more things, like, okay, just delete this. So a
Yeah.
lot of times too, people are like, oh, can I get that photo? It's like, oh, child, it's deleted. Like, I'm not being funny. I'm not trying to be withholding. It's like, no,
Yeah.
it is gone.
Yeah.
The moment has passed. And it's kind of nice to be like, okay, like, on to the next thing.
Yeah.
You know,
How often do you get guys like Randy that just fire you in the DMs for wanting photos?
photographs?
Yeah. I think of it as like they're your property. You're the photographer. You get to keep them. If you want to get them out, tell good old Randy over here to send you some money, right?
Well, no, all right. So
He's
I
not
think,
out.
No, I love
think
that
the
we're
opposite.
talking about
Let
this.
me
No,
let me talk the
I love,
opposite
no,
side.
No, this is the meat of it. Yes, let's talk about this. It is. I'm of two minds of it. I feel like I had a situation. I was at going back to preach. And this is not scandalous. It's nothing against him. Not even about him. I'm just like, we love contacts. I was at an event at Soul House and was just there to support an artist, and was taking photos at the event. Some weeks later, and this is before I even edited the photos and sent them to Soul House or sent it to the artist I was there to like to check out her work and support, or even some of my friends. There was a person, I guess he's well known in some creative circles because he does work with the city. I don't mind saying that. And I didn't feel bad about the conversation, but he wanted a particular photograph of him and another woman. And with further context, I guess the woman in the photograph, she was a big name or popular songwriter or something, incredible. But it just felt odd to me. It's like, well, wait a minute. I didn't come to take a photo of you. You were there at the event. You were in the mix. I was in the mix too. I had my camera, and it wasn't an issue me having my camera, so I don't want people to color it that way. I was allowed to take photographs, but that doesn't mean I have to edit that photo. And even when they edited, I got them edited and then like had it posted. He was like, "Oh, well, can you send this or whatnot?" Because I didn't see that one. And I was just like, it just didn't feel right. I was like, this isn't about you, and it's not about me, because I'm not posting selfies. I'm trying to like highlight other people what they're
Right.
doing. That's been the blessing of my life, and that's one of the blessings of the way I create. Like, it's not about me. What are other people doing? But
So you just sent him a middle finger emoji.
I did.
And that was it.
Yeah.
you know,
that'd
I
be
explained to him what I just told you. Basically, I was like, hey,
Hey, it's $100. Here's my Venmo.
I didn't even, not even that. I was like, oh, like, well, let me at least let the artist, let's let her look at these images, see if she wants to use anything, and then I'll get my little post up just to highlight, what Soul House is doing and like what this artist in particular is doing, and then we can worry about
Yeah.
this, because I didn't edit that photo, if I'm remembering correctly, so I have to go back. But then like it came up again, and then it was a whole thing of too, because like sometimes you don't, or you shouldn't respond instantly immediately. I know that's not the best thing for me. Most times I can respond instantly, but like sometimes think about something, feel out before you respond, so you can make sure you're leading with love, leading with kindness, and also being clear. But it's like, yeah, I don't work for you. You made the choice to come out to this event. It's not like I was in your home. It's not like I was like, well, oh, you were having an intimate dinner. It was a party. It was an art exhibit. A lot of people in the mix. And so with that context, it's like, I didn't feel obliged to send the photo. Now, most times I absolutely will. And y'all know that. Like, most people know that. Like, it's to my detriment sometimes, because I can be so giving and be so much of the art, and like I want people to feel good. It's like, oh no, I really should be charging. I had some wonderful ladies, Merritt McNeely, for example, with Flock and Rally. She gave me some good advice, and she was like, you need to get comfortable putting a value on your art, your work. Everything can't be for free. You can't leave everything up to other people to put a value in your work, and that's something I'm still learning, because and I'm not trying to be like, oh, I could be a mess sometimes too, but I know what it's like to not have, and so I love if I can give something. I can't give you $1 billion, but if you want a good image, I can give you that.
Yeah.
I can give you some kind words. If you need support, I can give you that. So I love to give, but it just, as an adult and as a man, you're like, oh, you realize, oh, wait, everything doesn't need to be free, or you just can't give everything away. Like, if you do give it, say, hey, like, it will cost this, especially if they're asking you for it, if they see, or you think they see a value in the image you're creating. So it all depends, though. Now, do you feel differently about when people take an image of a person, like they have automatic rights to it?
All right. So here's my two ways of looking at it. One
Yes.
would be like, it depends on the context, and if you're there like hired by the place, or if you're there on your own and the goal is to sell it, or if you're there for fun. Like, if I did a photo, like right now, if I took a selfie, you and I, and you're like, hey, can I have the photo? I'd be like, sure, text it to
exactly.
you. So that's like it's just like a social
Right.
scenario, not necessarily a work scenario, even though you could say that this is kind of work, but not really. At least I don't know if are we working right now?
Oh yeah.
We're working. All right.
So serious.
But then so we have our one friend Kelly King he takes these amazing photos, and he often does events that we go to. So if they're big birthday parties or half marathons, stuff like that, he does these photos.
Kelly King?
Kelly King.
I need to look.
His
him
photos
up.
are great.
You know,
He does a
all
lot
the
of
photographers.
His sports stuff.
he does a lot of sports stuff,
Oh,
high school football teams,
Does he use an icon?
stuff like that.
for like the motion stuff. I'm just curious.
He's got a bunch of different.
He's got
he's always got some
drone,
new.
he's got all kinds of stuff.
He's got so much cool stuff.
Incredible. Sorry.
But what
yeah.
he generally does is like whoever's throwing the party would hire. Like I would say like, hey, I'm
Right.
doing this big, hey, I'm throwing a birthday party for Jared. He's turning 30 next week. I
young.
want to get, or whatever it is, and like, hey, I want you to photograph the party. But then he always just took all the photographs that he took and that he liked, put them onto a website, and then we would fire them all off to each other. And then all of a sudden, there's 50 people posting photos that he took, saying, "Oh, these are amazing photos. Kelly took these photos.
Right.
Loved having them. You need to have them at your next party." Blah blah blah.
Yes.
So he would get paid on the front end for being at the event, but
And then
then
get
he would get
promotion through the
advertising on the
sharing.
back end because everybody would share it. And
That's
like,
a dream. It feels good.
yeah, whenever I post a photo of him or that he took, I'm like, oh, I look amazing in this.
Mm-hmm.
But I give him a lot of credit and clout and message him. And
Mm-hmm.
if anybody asks me, I refer to him all the time just
You
because.
refer to him and not me?
Well, I didn't even know that people are like, what's the name of Jared's company? Photography
It's no
company. I'd be like,
company.
I don't know. You just sent him a
just-
message. But
I
there's
know, it's
clarity.
not wild. Just DM me.
But there's clarity in his billing process, which I
Right.
really appreciate. Whereas like if somebody asked me, hey, I want Jared to do this, how does it work? I'd be like,
Yeah, here's
I
his
don't quite know.
information. DM
Yes,
him,
yeah.
and then they ask me,
Well,
and I give them a rate.
Well, all right. Well, what would it look like then? Someone wanted to hire you for a party.
Oh, this does happen. They email me or they DM me and say,
Yep.
hey, I like what you do. Or, here's the event. Here's the day and the time of the event, the number of people. Here's what we're looking for. And what is your rate? And then, because most people, they want to know what's the
Yes.
budget. They know how much
is
they
it
can
per
afford.
hour? Is it per hour or is it per night or is it per event?
And this is something I keep saying I should get more rigid about it, but no, I think everyone has to run their own race. It depends on the person. If going back to
If it's Ash Cadsey,
Exactly, I was
anything
supposed-
she wants for as long as she wants,
but think about why is it that though?
because she's great.
Right. And going beyond great, she's a friend. She's given my work so much value, not just being the photo, but like past projects. There's a history there. It's almost as if it was like a family member, very much the same. Or again, she's a friend saying, hey, yes, I can do that. Because that's just me. Now, there are some people to their financial benefit, like they going to charge on everything, and that's their business, and there's nothing wrong with that. I wish I could do that, but my heart guides a lot of what I do. If someone close to me or someone who I know, they have my back on other things or they give me value in this way, some things I'm like, yes, I would shoot this for free. There are things if I don't know you or if it's a bigger ask, then I will give you a rate, and I do it, by the hour. And also like, if it's a 4-hour event, do you want me there the whole time? Do you want me there for 3 hours? Also, will I be allowed to move around and shoot? Are you giving me a shot list?
Yeah.
Because it's how I work. And I work best when I'm set loose. Just
Just let him loose.
let loose.
Free
Just let me
spirit.
create. And I'm so thankful to Post and Courier because I'll start the step and repeat, but then I'm allowed to just shoot the party, and then you see people sharing those pictures.
Yeah.
So I'm so thankful for moments like that one or those 2 times, and the other ones that people are like, hey, like just come and shoot because it frees you. And with the kind of photos I like to take, I like to connect with people. Like it adds more color. And you got to communicate with them and watch them and be in the vibe in order to truly show them. If you don't want to just go for artifice or just something like typical.
So someone says, all right, I want to do 4 hours. Hey, I've got this birthday party. I want you to do 4 hours. You would say, all right, here's the price for 4 hours.
Yes.
And then they would say, how many photos does that get me? Or how many what happens then? They pay you to take the photos. And then if they want the photos, they pay for the photos, or they get a package where they get 5 photos from the party. Or do they get all the photos unedited and they choose the ones that want to get edited?
I've been very lucky. I haven't had anyone, and I do get paid work. I do a lot of stuff for free, but I definitely get paid work. Thank God for it. Keep the lights on. But I've been very lucky. I've never had anyone say, I want this amount of photos, nor have I had to say, oh, here's this package. There are a lot of people who have packages. And even hearing myself say this out loud, I work differently. That's part of the art. And it's not intentional, just how I work. But I work hard. A lot of times I end up giving them more photos than they'll ever need or even use. There was something I shot and I sent maybe like 70 photos and they only used like one of them. And they weren't great shots. It's their favorite. They use that one. So it depends on the person, but it depends on the vibe. Like typically now, if I think about average, I will have enough room on that SD card. I will shoot and maybe like, if you think about the Post and Courier event or like the last event I did, like I may have like 400 photos. Well, there was more for Post and Courier, but like a typical like birthday party event, 350, 400 photos.
Oh, nice.
And then I'm just pulling out whatever ones I like, and whatever number that is the number.
Yeah.
Now I'm not like, oh, I don't. No, I'm not being crazy about it. Like if it's out of focus, if something was cut off, or this is just bad lighting, or it's too dark. Okay, we can't use those.
But you're not trying to get like one of each person that was at the party.
No,
It's just whatever happens.
because that's not how party works. And that's how I approach my work too. And I think it reflects in the photographs. We're all different. Everyone has a different aesthetic, and there's so much I need to learn. But one thing that people like about my photos, and I'll pat myself on the back again, photographs are a part of storytelling. It's not, unless you're the host, it's not typical for someone at a party to have the interaction, or for their eyeballs to clock every single person there and have them pose or whatever. No, that's not how parties work. Unless you're the host, you want to get into the groove. What are they eating? Eat a little bit of that. What are they drinking? Drink some of that. Talk with people, feel out the vibe. If it's a positive vibe, have fun with it. You want to kind of document the moment. And my approach to document the moment is an artistic and an aesthetically pleasing way. But no, I haven't had a situation or been in a situation where I had to like photograph every single person there. Even with going back again to post and curve, step and repeat, for those who want to participate in step and repeat, you don't have to. Now, most people who won best of, congratulations to y'all. Best of.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They're excited about winning. You want to celebrate their joy, so they come to step and repeat,
Right.
and they want to get their photo taken. So absolutely, I will photograph, and we'll be there all night.
Yeah.
A lot of times doing that, but that's nice. It's part of the moment, and you want to celebrate people. But outside of like an award situation, like parties, is very much a vibe.
Yeah.
And you want to accurately reflect that in the imagery, in the photograph. And you do that by getting in the mix and trusting your gut, trusting your heart,
Yeah.
and capturing those incredible moments. You can capture the vibe of a party with one image or two images. It doesn't have to be a slew of
Yeah.
like, I need this, and that. It's that the world we live in, people love content. And content is powerful, it's king, and you can make money off of it. But it's not necessary all the time to have like
Yeah.
photos of every little thing. Just tell the story.
Say that we want to hire you for, say, an upcoming birthday party,
I would love that.
and the thought
I
is
accept.
that we want a calendar. We want 12 images of like for a calendar. So like the goal would be 12, I guess, candid images.
Okay.
But you kind of maybe want like a little bit of theme for like, say, January or July or December.
Well, if it's a calendar, I mean, if they want a theme or a typical calendar,
Yeah.
you definitely want, I mean, that's different than a party though.
Yeah.
It's almost like working for a magazine, or like here's the layout, or here's a specific editorial. There's a
Right.
specific idea and they want me to do it. I love helping someone realize their dream, or helping them create,
Now
some people
you're
help me
talking.
build. So it's like, no, let's do this. Here are the themes, here's a look. I may have my input. Maybe they should wear this. I would
Yeah.
specifically be shooting to, they would get more than 12 images because we want people to have options.
Right.
But you would know like there needed to be 12 distinct images for each month of this calendar.
Like, would you like to get into the creative, like where it's like, all right, it's January.
Mm-hmm.
What would be a good like backdrop? What kind of, you know what I mean? Or
Be like
I would love-
puppies and snowflakes.
yeah,
What kind of calendar? Like, what is the aesthetic? Are we trying to do high art? Are we trying to give a vibe? Are we trying to give like
Let's-
typical,
yeah.
what kind of calendar is it?
I'd say 12 shirtless men, highlighted uniquely each month. But
Why are they
high art.
shirtless in
But high
January,
art.
though? And this is questions. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
even like a repulsion or attack. It's just like, oh, like help me understand the concept. Why
Yeah.
is it every month a shirtless?
It's like Sports Illustrated,
Oh,
But every
but
sports,
men.
Well, every Sports Illustrated isn't like shirtless or even in two pieces. They've even evolved on that. So these would be questions I would ask, and I've had
Yeah,
moments
yeah.
like that where people have a specific idea, and I will ask questions because I'll be the first to say, "Oh, I can't achieve this," or
Yeah.
"I'm not the person for this." But here's who you should talk to.
yep.
But I would
like
be into
that.
that. I love
But
it's
you'd
a
help with
collaboration.
directing
It's an,
it.
it's an
Yeah.
exchange.
Nice.
Yeah. Do you want a calendar with 12 shirtless men?
It's just an idea floating around there for Randy's 40th birthday coming up.
You want a calendar?
He's been dreaming about this for
That's
a while.
kind of funny, and I'm not laughing. It's like funny in like an interesting way, like because typically, what?
No, it's
When I say
it's a
funny,
nice
it's
way to say
interesting.
that. It's,
No, because you're it's a different thing you're describing because you don't hear, oh, I want a calendar for my 40th birthday, but most people do like to mark major milestones with some sort of memento, or like I want a
Yeah.
portrait or something. And it's your kind of version of like the portrait. That's great. That's good.
Thanks. Thank you.
And I'm assuming you would be the only person in your family to see this calendar. It wouldn't be like, oh, I'm trying to sell these.
Well, it might
or,
be a
like,
charity.
overseas.
We might maybe we try to do like raise some money for charity
But what charity?
or good one. No,
These are questions.
No, it
You
wouldn't
know,
be.
when you collaborate.
It would be more like when when you go to a wedding and you get a gift. That it would be kind of like that.
But these are things that people typically would want. And so I'm not saying people don't want this. I'm asking, like,
What would be the
who
point?
is your market? Who would want this calendar? Because I'm sure there's someone who would want it. But outside of
Oh,
like
yeah.
your
Tons of people.
spouses, like who would want this?
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Give me some names.
his
I'm
his
just- I'm-
62
I'm learning.
followers that he has.
No, I don't. It's not necessarily if it's done creatively. Then it's not just like your typical firefighter, shirtless firefighters photos. It
Which
could
is
be
hot.
funny.
Well, let's
And
Can we go
unique.
back to that real quick? I mean, first
Back
of
to the
all,
shirtless firefighters.
yes, because now I'm thinking like, well, wait, like, it's giving me more questions. It's like, wait a minute, like,
Are these men attractive
well,
that are going to be in this
I was
calendar
gonna say,
shoot?
what aesthetic are we going for? Are we going
Right.
to give classic physique? Are we giving like heavyweight? Are we giving like dad? What is
Dad
the vibe?
bods. I'm guessing.
It's
Well,
a calendar, but it's very much no different than a magazine. Like you need to fully flesh out like
yeah.
the whole thought process behind it. You just don't like tell them just like, oh, I just got my shirt off. It's like, well, wait, like
Right,
what do you?
right.
How do you want them to see it?
Yeah.
It's an image. You know?
Well, it'd have to be based on their personality and the best parts of their body.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we would mold those two things together, blend it, and then it would come into something creative.
Like maybe you're hiding in the
But
bushes.
you're on to
Yeah,
something,
maybe
though.
you're. Yeah.
I do.
I don't know about that. Bushes.
But no, you're on to something. I like the fact. Well, you tap into the market for it. Like you need a basis calendar or pair it with some charity or something that's focused on or helps focus on male body positivity.
Yeah, right.
Because you see my reaction, like, oh, firefighters. That picture comes into people's mind when they think, oh, a man with a shirt off. Like oh, maybe that's your avenue. Like, and that can help flesh out the concept more. Like, oh. Let's express
Yeah.
body positivity. I mean, unless you got like, okay, you firefighter, but like, no, like,
I was thinking maybe pair it with like rescue dogs because everybody likes a good rescue animal
do that though?
Too hot
fundraiser.
markets.
I think everybody, don't you? You don't think everybody's passionate about animals?
No, I don't think they're passionate. I think most people like animals. I don't say they're passionate now.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, well, if the dog is an element in the calendar to get people in, it's like, we'll just do a dog calendar, which is a big thing. People like dogs, just have dogs, no shirtless guys. It's like if you want to go with the shirtless guys, like have confidence in an idea or in what you're bringing and just lead with that. You
The
don't
back. Well, it may just be like the back. There's a couple photos of animals and saying like a portion of all proceeds.
See,
Maybe
you
go
want
to
to partner
saving
this with the animal.
Maybe any hot topics that are happening at that moment when the
just
shoot
change it.
yeah,
Yeah.
you just throw them in there, so
Yeah,
it
we're
supports
just
everything.
fluid with who we're supporting.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
Calendar fluid.
Calendar fluid.
It's a new thing.
Charity
It's a
It's
thing.
so new. I'm like, wow. I think it's a great idea. I can't wait to hear it
shoot
fully.
this.
I can't wait to shoot it. I can't wait to send you my rate for this. And you heard it here first on the Here for the Health of It podcast. I will be shooting this calendar. Thank you for offering that to me. We love a verbal
Yep.
contract.
Yes.
And I can't wait for us to fully flesh out this idea and like streamline it and have a focus to it.
Yeah.
It'll be the best calendar ever shot.
Yeah, I got a feeling.
And let's
it's
get
gonna
everyone in the gym now. Like, let's
start our
you know,
diets.
Yes, I mean, it's
No
silly.
more cookies, only working out.
We love all body shapes and all sizes. Keep it real.
Now, how did you develop your eye for beauty and just the moments and these candids? And did you find yourself like working on it, or you just naturally were like, oh, I have an
I
eye
naturally
for this?
have that. Y'all know, oh God, because I don't want someone to hear this and be like, oh my God, like he's patting himself back again. Like I'm very much
No,
a
we love a
person, but
good
I'm
pat on
at a
the back.
point where I do want to give myself credit for certain things. I've always had that. It's my upbringing, going back to being exposed to things. I grew up in North Philly, in the hood.
Pennsylvania guy?
Yes.
Same.
And we moved when I was young, when my mother remarried, but we would, visit and travel over. But I'm giving more context again. Going from North Philly to Florence, South Carolina, and like the deep part of Florence where like I was zoned for Pamplico. Beautiful, rural, it's incredible. I had a beautiful upbringing, but I wasn't very wealthy, but I was exposed to a lot of different things. And so I was always, my mother, even back when we were in Philly, when she would get paid every 2 weeks, things were tight. She always made sure when she got paid, we went to a different restaurant, and she specifically said, you have to be exposed to things. I remember when we were like living in a trailer, on a dirt road. I had the exposure experience to go to England when I was 15, and not most black men can say, "Oh, I could spend a portion of my summer on tour singing in England," because I was with this particular choir and we had a really good year, and so that just is something that's just innate within me. I love to take in things and to find it inspiring, and I'm blessed that what I think is aesthetically pleasing most times, other people think it's too. The beauty, but that's just something that just comes from within.
And then when did you develop the swagger to not give a shit about like other people's opinions or thoughts or any of that stuff?
Oh, you just learn that. Like everyone else, like it just comes with time. Like there are moments you do care and it still gets to you, but then at a certain point, it's not a particular age, but at a maturity level, or once you get deeper into your experience or your craft, your profession, you realize you're running your own race, and you're like, okay, they're doing this, I'm doing this. That has nothing to do with me. Especially if you're not asking for their opinions or asking for feedback. You just have to run your own race and stay focused and listen to those who are being positive in your life. Do I give that vibe where I don't? Or, I love that because that makes me feel like good. Like okay, like I'm growing.
When I first met you, you were wearing a skirt, and I did, and I thought to myself, "There's not a lot of men that pull that off." And it was like
that was a great outfit. I almost wore that again today.
Yeah.
As to pay homage to that moment. That was a fun night.
Yes.
For those listening, we first met at the Miss South Carolina pageant,
Yes.
going back to Ashley.
Yep.
We sat next to y'all, and I'm like, "Who are these people?" And I said, "Oh, there's something like that."
Yep.
Okay. And y'all were just so nice. And your wife, she wears a dress. Fashion.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And then we all
Smoke
took a little
show.
group photo. You should have been there. It was a nice moment.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. But thank you for that.
Well, has there ever been a time when your feelings got hurt and you didn't expect they would be hurt?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm an artist. I'm sensitive. But there are moments that pop up in the mind. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you want to share any of them, or is that too personal?
No, it's not
Well,
personal.
I'm thinking, and it could be a business type thing where you kind of alluded to somebody asking you to re-edit something and you had to think about it.
There's an obvious example or situation I want to share, and like, give me a second, and then don't even edit this part out because I need to decide. That's something I'm working on because I give a lot, whether it's myself, my time, or what people need. I love just sharing, and it's not a negative thing, but I am learning professionally and as I'm growing. Everyone doesn't see it that way. Even when you're being honest and not saying anything scandalous, some people aren't comfortable with that. With that said, I'll share what I want to share. There was something that happened, and it's something that people still bring up today, and I'm not trying to rehash it, but it's just something within photography, with Columbia being the place it is. And I won't even make it too long. I was one of 2 photographers asked to be at a particular event. And the backstory before showing up, there was a meeting where the individual, we had I won't even say agreement, 'cause that sounds almost shady. They were being very kind and helping other work I'm doing outside of photography. They're familiar with me. They know what I do. They are a fan of my candidates. They're always so kind. I still do work with them today. They're an incredible person. They asked them to be there. We won't say their name, photographer, was not aware of this. And so, okay, whatever. Didn't get in their way. Even was like, hey, you're here, I'm here. Like, okay, just make sure you're doing this because I know what I was asked to do. And I remember feeling good about it, even to the point where people at that event, some people were leading it, were collabing and doing cool things. It just felt really good. It was a fun night. And I remember getting a DM, and the DM was just nasty. It was mean. I didn't like the vibe of it. And they had the impression that I just showed up to take photographs, which I do sometimes because I may have a camera. And then also, it's funny. It's like, well, why are you threatened by this? Because if I had my phone, you wouldn't care. So why do you care the fact that
Right.
I have this? So that's a whole nother conversation, but I was asked to be there. And this is someone who I was supportive of, praising their work, was in a situation where someone's like, oh, we would like to do a exhibit of your photographs and just how I work and just, be a blessing in order to get blessings and just, give something, don't just take. I was like, oh, yeah, that's good, but the idea should be multiple photographers from this particular demographic or background and just have a showcase, don't just make it about me. They were there, it was just wild, unexpected. But there are moments where people your feelings will get hurt because of things they were saying to me, about my work, and it was just wild because of, I won't even say miscommunication, their perception or belief that they should be the
Right.
only person in the room.
They wanted the exclusivity.
Right, but if you
Yeah.
negotiate
Right.
exclusivity, then don't expect it.
Right.
And I'm not even telling people to negotiate that. I think we all, as artists, creatives, or physicians, any practice, we should be uplifting and upbuilding each other and supporting each other.
Yeah.
And doing what we can to open doors to other people. Because, I'm getting cussed out in DMs and it's wild. But then realize I had every right to be there. I was asked to be
Right.
there. And on top of other photographers saying, well, oh, don't fall for this trap. They've done this to me. Here's some background. So
Oh boy. So you might
Right.
screenshot it and blast them.
I think you know the situation I'm talking about because this is truly, I can be a mess sometimes. And in hindsight, I don't know if that was the best choice, but I am who I am. And the reason I did it because we're all a human. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. They aren't perfect. We're all on a journey. But we all know when two people know of a situation and they know, what's
Yeah.
been said. And then we know, and this is something I try to avoid and hope to avoid. I don't put things out there for persona. I don't put things out there for clout. I don't do things I want to look. I do things because I care about it. It makes me happy, and I feel like I'm going to be blessed by doing something, or I'm going to learn something to add to my life. I do things, because I'm passionate about it and I love it. And so I don't get on social media for a persona. But when I'm reading certain things and hearing certain things, or if you and another local photographer are having conversations about, oh, he just shows up or whatever, that's not the case. Why won't someone say, hey, were you just asked to be here? And you say, yes, I was asked to be here, or I wasn't asked. So when you know what's
Yeah.
been said, and then when you read things or hear things, or they're acting like, oh, I don't do drama, I don't do this. I am the kind of person now where I can be petty. I'm human. What's within another person is within me. We're all capable of doing the same things. But I try to I want people to have a full scope. I love to give context. So if I'm going to respond and say, oh, this is not the truth of what you're saying, this is the situation, I love a receipt. Here's a receipt. So people can just have all things considered. So yeah, it's almost like, Lord, it's almost like you know what I'm talking about. I don't think you do, but if a situation warrants, or you feel like this is gonna
I
help
get it.
my
I
end of the
understand.
debate, why not share? Especially if you're not blasting and say, hey, here's full context
Yeah.
of it. So yeah, there are moments you're feeling hurts, and sometimes you just have to stand up for yourself.
Yeah, buddy.
That's okay.
Does your middle name start with a J?
No, my middle name is Lee.
Lee.
Like in my Instagram handle,
JLJ.
Jared Lee Johnson.
Okay. Nice. And then I just had two last questions. What would you say makes your bookstore different or unique to other bookstores or big corporate stores?
Well, that's easy. The people. We have an incredible team at All Good Books. Our team, whether it's ownership, our creative director Julie, to our booksellers, they are passionate about Columbia. They're passionate about their books, and they truly care. That's one of the reasons why I love when we do our staff picks, because the book picks and
Yeah.
the book titles are so
I've seen
diverse.
those.
They're so fun. They're so all over the place, and it's incredible. And even when people pop in and they want to talk about a book or ask for a recommendation, you want this?
Yeah.
Oh, talk to Julie. You want this? Oh, I got you on this. You want a memoir recommendation? Or even Steve, because he's so politically intelligent and knows his history and is engaged with trying to fight book bans and different things that are happening within the state and the city. So go to him for this. So the people are what make All Good Books so special. We all bring something different to the table, but it's all under the umbrella of books. And you can feel the passion, you can feel the love, and there's an intimacy in what we do. And I wouldn't do it if it wasn't there. So yeah, the people.
Love that.
Yes.
And then besides books and photography, are there any other passions that you have? If you could pick one more thing that just gets you going, what would that
God, it's
be?
one. I love music. A lot of people don't know that. I touched on it my first trip to England. Singing.
Choir.
Yes, I love
you're a
music. I
singer.
love to sing. I am. I'm
Oh,
getting
you
I'm
know we're gonna
comfortable-
ask. Is that
I'm
what you're gonna
comfortable
ask him?
singing that.
You better start thinking about what you're gonna sing for us.
Child,
It just needs to be short. It doesn't have to be long.
I'm not singing.
You're not.
Yes.
We need it.
But I'm not Cynthia
would he
Erivo. Like she's incredible. Like Well, no, maybe I can do that. Oh God, let me sip this water real quick. Hold on.
Oh, wow. This is our, I don't know if we've ever had a song.
No, this is a first. I'm excited.
I'm probably gonna like be so hard on myself and like look back and be like, why did I do this? But something has changed within me. Something here is not the same. I am through with playing by. Yeah. So yeah,
That
just
was
like soon as we
good.
said- I know, but
Just
like
on the fly.
Yeah.
but no, my pitch needs to be a little higher. But like, just like, no, I love this
Hey.
thing. Especially when I'm like, okay, I'm warmed up and prepared. Not like,
Yeah.
oh, just yeah.
Yeah. You sing in the shower?
I do. It depends though. Like,
Yeah.
oh God, this is not about singing. I shouldn't have done that. Maybe edit that out. But there are certain things you sing in the shower for.
Like Whitney. You hit Whitney in the shower.
Oh, Whitney was my first cassette tape I got. I feel like it was
Yeah.
the first piece of secular music I could listen to. So love her. But no, I sing in the shower like if you want to hear like how something sounds.
Yeah.
Because a lot of time with singing too, when you sing, it's not just about like, oh, that sounds pretty. It's like, no, you need your voice to be an instrument. It needs to do this to go with this. So I sing in the shower if I'm like trying to practice something or hear like feedback on something. So if I'm doing falsetto or like, not Whitney, but if I'm doing like an Ariana Grande note or something, because I'm a tenor one, I will do that in the shower so I can hear it. Because, you know, with sound bounces, you can hear it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this. And there are moments like, no, I need to be in the living room for this because the wood and like, this is levels to it. So, yeah, I do sing in the shower, but I sing in the shower for like certain things. If I'm like, I need to hear how this sounds in this way.
Yeah. Do you have like a music player in the shower, or you just go a cappella?
Oh, depends on my mood. Like I'll take the Bluetooth speaker in there,
Yeah.
or like just have the TV blasting because I'm in my apartment, like the living space where
Yeah.
the TV is not far from that, so you can hear it. Or maybe have the headphones on in the shower. Thank God for waterproof. It just all depends on my mood or like my particular version of crazy that day.
Headphones.
I've never heard of headphones in the shower.
That's
I-
next
you need
level,
to
Jared.
get some.
Wow, that's next level. I don't even.
They're right. I don't want to rip this out, but like my headphones are always on. Like
Wow.
people recognize me for that. Like they're like, "Oh, where are your headphones?" Like they're my security blanket.
Are you listening to things though, or is it?
Oh,
just,
I am.
Oh yeah.
I'm that kind of person. I probably shouldn't share this, but again, I'm gonna share it.
It's a good preface. I like how you
I'm
start
not gonna do
everything
it.
with
I'm
that.
gonna do it. I'm at a point. I live alone, and I grew up with an incredible older sister and a family, and like a city and sound, and like things going on. A house full of love and sound. I don't like it to be quiet all the time. I like a little something, even if it's white noise. Yeah, I'm listening to podcasts. I'm listening to music, but mostly it's music. I love music. I love sound. I like to hear things all the time. It's crazy. It's like my neighbors know I'm awake if they're like, "Oh, there's music playing. Oh, he's listening to this podcast." It's like I like life, and sound is a sign of life.
I think if you were quiet with yourself for a little while,
Mm-hmm.
you would realize things that you don't realize when there's noise.
I do have quiet moments now. I
Like
do.
hours, 2 hours,
I've had. I mean,
dead silence.
well, I don't think with electricity, I think it's gonna be dead silence. Again, going back to music, when your ears train, like you ever like been in a room, the power's been out, going back to
Yeah.
that. You're like, oh, the refrigerator's not. That
Yes.
buzz is gone.
Yes.
So it's hard to get that in
Or
the
out in
modern
the
society.
woods, almost.
Well, even that, you hear things.
grasshoppers.
Well, you hear like cats moving and different things. I grew up in the country. It's rare to find any space on Earth that has no sound. There's a not a deprivation chamber. There's a specific place you can
Yeah.
go to, but where psychologists do studies and different things. But most people,
People
cannot
go crazy.
You can't even within minutes because it's like pure dead silence.
Yeah.
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 It's no. But we are meant to communicate and hear things and
Yep.
live and breathe. You know, even your heartbeat makes a sound. There's no situation where you won't be able to hear sound.
Right.
Except in that room. I think we were talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
People freak out.
They go crazy. I've heard
Yeah,
that
they
too.
run out of there.
All right. Well, how do our listeners support you? Come buy some books, DM you for photography. Do you want to throw out your cell phone number? Do you want to throw out emails? You tell us.
I don't know. My husband would be out there. I mean, like, here's my address. Here's my phone number.
Yeah.
Here's no. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity
Yes.
to share, to support me and what I do, and come buy all good books. Come in and buy a book. We're within our holiday shopping season, so give the gift of reading. Give the gift of a good book. Going beyond just getting a book. Come into our space. Get a coffee, beer, wine, and fill it out. Meet up with your friends on our patio. Just come by the store, feel us out, fall in love with us, and get your books from us. For me personally, just follow me on Instagram at I am Jarrett Lee Johnson. If you like the images you see, or feel I can in some way add to your vision or help you create the vision, then DM me and let me know your idea, and we can talk rates or talk about like, no, I like the idea, it's great. I just want to support you because everyone's not in the position to pay. I know what it's like to be a creative. So like, just follow me on Instagram at I am Jarrett Lee Johnson and come by
Sweet.
all good books and support the store.
Love it.
Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Great.
having me. I appreciate it.
Here
We're here for the health of it.
for the health of it.